like some sort of ritual, these short reflection moments or times. Even though I'm talking to the camera, I know that you are behind, and it really means a lot knowing that my message goes out to people who resonate with it. I do receive some comments and private messages regarding what I share here. Not surprised how many can relate, and many of us actually are in the same boat per se. I feel like there is a lot going on in the world and been going on, and there is some sort of collective energy that most of us can feel. But these weekly sessions where I'm trying to capture some thoughts and captured fragments into an episode of Slow Living Life. I guess it's not safe to say that they are basically a video diary. And within that, the thoughts that I'm sharing are personal, very often up to date or reminiscing on the past, or thinking, manifesting the future. It does help me, but I really hope it helps others too, since many of us are in the same boat. When I share, I recognize that how I feel often is similar how others feel. And now it's quite vague what I'm trying to explain, but I frankly don't know how else to explain it. Let's say if our body is a vessel, and bear in mind that I'm an artist designer who loves science and slowly making friends with spirituality. So if our body is a vessel and everything around us is energy that vibrates, basically like a molecule, just every molecule vibrates, and depending on the density you have objects or all sorts of creatures. I don't want to go into super specific details because I am not a scientist. I just really love science, neurology, psychology, physics, chemistry. So I do spend quite some time I wouldn't say to understand, but there is just always something new that I am fascinated by, to explore or learn more. So yeah, if our body is basically a vessel and we can receive as well release energy through our body in all sorts of ways, then if there is a collective energy coming from the gravity of the planets or the flares from the sun, you name it, then many of us will feel that, just translate it differently. And that being said, obviously I have lived a life where I was really driven on whatever I set my mind to it. I moved alone to a completely new country to study in a language that I barely spoke. Somehow, somewhere around that time, I just decided that I can't see myself fitting in a system studying something useful and practical just to make money. At that time I already had several different jobs and supported myself financially, so I understood that I don't really need a degree to financially support myself. And I grew up on books, reading basically a book in a day or two. That was my escape, or my fantasy world, just strolling around the world in books. Reading so much and watching so much documentaries somehow led me to the arts. It seemed very honest and like I don't know how to explain this, but as a teenager at the time, understanding the word more and more, like even if for the longest time I wanted to be a lawyer and represent people who has no protection and who has no help. But then I understood that the law system is not really to support citizens. Anyway, I don't want to go into politics because that's something that I really try to stay away myself. I do feel like I truly believe that we are surrounded by so much distraction and manipulation in a way to distract ourselves from finding what's true to us. And the reason why is, I think, that if you realize what is really true to yourself, then you will not need anything or anyone. Because first and foremost, you can give it to yourself. And secondly, your priorities and what will attract you and what you will attract gets shifted. So, I mean, I'm 35 now. Well, not yet. Whatever I set my mind on, I just went for it, and I worked hard and I took risks. Very often I win what I set my mind on, whether it's moving to a different country, whether it's starting a new career, whether putting myself in a situation that I have never been before. It took me a really long time, basically 34 years, to understand that what really, really matters is what's true to yourself. And that's the moment when I had to just take some steps back, learn who I really am and what is really true to myself. I I guess you could call it as an identity crisis. Oh, that's funny though, but I take it. I mean, that's what it was. Being an artist and designer has very different shapes and forms, and while I was really lucky to be able to be an independent, receiving governmental fundings to execute projects, being invited to different paid residencies to create what I had in mind, somehow did not feel true to myself. And I guess when you receive fundings to create, the outcome, one way or another, is influenced a little bit by the founder. And I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. In fact, the applied creative field is pretty much that. Like, you have a client that you're working with, and you bring their vision into reality. So yeah, I had a fair share on that. So in times when I questioned, I did try different ways to be an artist and make my living as an artist, and the past few years was a quiet, wild roller coaster, really. But it did help me to understand how I could do it in a way that's really true to myself. Now, when it comes to creation or being an artist, I think the advantage on that is that you do truly believe that what's in your mind, you can create or realize it. I started to look at my life or my future in the same way. I try to use my creative energy basically to create my future. As I said, I have both some time and space to just figure myself out, understand who I am, understand what's true to myself, and what does fulfill me, and what do I need to exist, not to survive but to thrive. And I just begin to mantra that. I do know that I feel the best in nature, close to the ocean, closer to the mountains, where I can walk barefoot and Maggie can run free. I do know that creativity is my sole passion, and creating feels the most true to myself with what I would like to earn or remain to earn my income. And what I learned from the practical sense is that I think life, universe, God, or whatever, source, however you want to call it, always provides us with what we need. And I truly believe that we create our own reality, and the universe is just basically giving you options to choose from. But in this equation, no space for fear. Fear is an energy that blocks the flow of imagining it and basically living it. Okay, I think this episode is already going to be quite long. I hope that these thoughts resonate with you well. I am also very curious what you think and how you feel about all of this. Where are you in your life now? And would love to build slowly a community here where like-minded people can share and being supported on their journey. Be nice with each other. See you next week.